Hi, I'm Justine and I have mixed spasmodic dysphonia. I can talk even now with a mouthful of marbles under wet cement and underwater. So my life was probably, I don't think I've limited a lot in my life, but the thing is that I can't be as social as what I used to be, and it has affected my career in a little way. I think I was quite naive for a lot of the time. Like, I was very accepting and I was just in a bit of a bubble. Like, we just go to this doctor, that doctor. And then I can remember the doctor told me, you've got mixed spasmodic dysphonia. And I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? But then my lovely speech pathologist came and hugged me after it. And I thought, hang on, what does this mean? This must be something that's serious. So I think it was a long process of actually accepting that this was going to be the rest of my life. And I think that took me a fair while to actually understand it. It has. I try very, very hard for it not to be, because I'm a big believer that I got to wake up every day and lots of people don't. So, but yes, because I would say the hardest bit is probably that I've lost a little part of myself, because I can't be the person that I used to be. And people, when you're quiet, people don't take as much notice of you. Not that you want to be the centre of attention, but I think it's all a bit too hard for them, and that's okay because it's a strange condition, but that's probably been the hardest thing, and not being able to teach my own class now. So I really, really miss that. Grateful that I can teach a little, but it's not the same. We'll go financial at first. So I couldn't tell you actually how much money we've actually lost through wage. It would be at the moment as we stand, this is the least amount. That's been about $20,000 a year that we lose. And even though at the moment my surgeries are paid through for insurance, it's because I've lost a full-time job. And so over the years, from going from not being able to work and having a reduced income to 2 days to 3 days to 3.5 days, you're just constantly losing it. But I can't even let that enter my headspace, because you could sit there and go, well, I've lost all this money and there's no law to say compensating law, but you'd be miserable to think about it. I think you just learn to do the best you've got with what you have. So the financial impact has been huge, but I try not to focus. And I think I've actually noticed the way I've been able to reduce that focus as the years go on, and just be grateful. You've been able to get up to 4 days work a week. Whether that lasts, if we can hang that out for another 5 years, well, that's a good thing. So try not to focus on it, but yes, it's definitely there. So as I'm about to have my 17th procedure since 2015 in about 2 weeks, the hospital bit I'm actually quite okay with now. I just walk in and I know all the doctors and I know all the nurses, and that's okay. Not so much the 2.5 to 3 weeks after. I can't breathe. I get very sick. I have ended up in HDU in the hospital, not being able to breathe. I have breathing attacks, which I think are like dystonic storms. The more that I research, I actually had one on Thursday, and I can't move my lounge, and I've just got to sit with a nebulizer on. I can't move, otherwise I will end up in the hospital. And the problem with the hospital is it's an education thing, so it takes them half a day to work out what they need to do. I know they just need to put a high flow oxygen on, but you can't tell a doctor that. They'll learn. No, when you can't, and you're breathing like probably like a lot worse than even I am now. So it does wear me down. I laugh a lot, but that's really hard. The last surgery was probably one of the worst recoveries because I was choking, and I was choking to the point where I was vomiting, and that's gross, I know, but it was pretty bad, and I couldn't breathe, and then you don't want to eat, and then, but in all of this, you've still got a healthy mind saying, come on, let's go out today. Let's think, your mind forgets, and that's a big problem of mine, that my mind makes plans that my body can't fulfill. So I think losing a little bit of me, I think having to sacrifice that little part of me and being able to wanting to speak and not being able to at times, even though I try very hard. I'm able to get rid of telemarketers really, really quickly. The other thing, I think that it's actually made me a much better listener to other people and more acutely aware of silent struggles when people aren't the same as what they used to be. It makes you actually look, I found it's made me look out more for other people. Probably the social and emotional impact that it has on you. Not as much of a specialist that deals in that, but if you're just dealing with a general GP, because you can't expect them to know everything. But I just think to have a quicker understanding of that, it goes beyond your voice. There's a lot that actually extends beyond that, and I think they're just too busy to be able to actually have that time to do that. And that's okay, but it would be good. It would really be good if they had that, just a little more of an education with it. Funny enough, I'm pretty open to, I have a very good sense of humour on all of this. I take a lot of it with a grain of salt. So people will say, oh, speak up, and I actually am able to laugh a lot of that off. I did have one of the students in my class say a detrimental thing, and that probably hurt more than anything, because the kids that I teach have been the most beautiful creatures to work with. But when he said that, was like, oh, that was probably the first comment that I'd ever had, that your voice sounds terrible, and that kind of when I had to go, pull back year 6. Yeah, so, but apart from that, like, I get things, people will say, oh, speak up, we can't hear you, and I laugh, or I give them a bird. So I'm pretty hardy with all of that kind of thing, because, it is what it is. And it's actually, I appreciate how hard it is for them to actually listen to me. Like, you really got to concentrate when my voice is really bad. So I think to try and keep the person who has the voice condition as upbeat as you can, and try not to let them come down to a level, to make them know that, the world is out there and you can come with that, and always include them. I think you always need to know that you were invited to go somewhere, because it gives you the power to say, I'm not up to it, or yeah, that's good. I think them to try and keep pushing, even though sometimes I don't want to hear the positive, I just want a bit of a come on. But I think to actually always include you and actually trying to keep you as upbeat as they can. So it's a bit of a fine balance for them. I'll give you a bit of a history with those. So it was very experimental at first. We just tried normal Botox. I think I had about 10 of tiny units, like 1.5, 1.25, and none of that was working. So then in 2015 we tried a filler, and that worked a little bit. And then we didn't do much till about the end of that, and then we tried a larger dose of Botox, but we did it under a general anaesthetic because we were now talking that, 5 units didn't work in a surgery. So then we put 10 units in. That worked a little bit, but not great. But now, and then in 2016, after more 10 units under general anaesthetic, like every 10 to 12 weeks, my doctor did a laser myectomy of my thyroarytenoids, and that had never been done in the country before, but me being me just said, yeah, that's fine. He said to me, you've got nothing to lose, and I wouldn't offer it to you if I thought it could make you worse. It gave me volume, which was the thing that I really needed, was to get some volume. And then since then, we've gone in and we started with 10 units of Botox every 12 weeks into my right PCA. We started alternating for a while, but we've since found that righty works best. So we go in every 12 weeks, and then after a while, the 10 kind of wasn't working that well. So now we have 15 units into my right PCA, and I was lucky enough to go and see Andrew Blitzer in New York, and he suggested also targeting the adductor muscles as well. So we tried that just in the rooms, and that wasn't enough, like a normal dose, which is probably what fixes everybody else, but not me. So then we did it under general anaesthetic, and I'm not sure how much was actually put into the adductors that time, but my last round was probably one of the best voices that I've had for a long time, which is great, but the recovery was pretty awful. Yeah, that was pretty awful. So that's gone on since, number 17 will be on the 8th of October. So, and that's like accepting that. I mean, that's the rest of my life now, because if I don't do that, I can't talk. And every time I feel like I'm going to give up, my dear sister, Nurse Jo, goes, but you like talking. And I said, okay, we'll keep going. So if I don't do this, I can't talk, which apparently I like to do. I'd have to say that having another part of your life that you can actually control. So because I have no control over this, I'm getting a little bit better. I understand my cycles and what I'm capable, but I think like exercise has been the ultimate saver, even though I struggle with that because of my respiratory dystonia. I struggle with it, but I find that that's been an outlet, because that's something I can try and keep achieving with. And apart from cardio, I'm not that limited with that. It's really important, and it's really hard to try and keep a sense of humour. And I'm a big believer that you wouldn't be given something if someone somewhere didn't think you could handle it, and that there is good in every day, and sometimes you just got to find a bit harder. And hey, this doesn't work, but the rest of my body, apart from my lungs, which go to, the rest of my body works. So, and I have another sister that reminds me to practice gratitude, and I try to do that, and it doesn't always work, and I do end up down in the dumps. But I think, just to realise that, your voice isn't going to define you. Yeah, it mightn't sound great, but you've still got a lot to offer to the world. And there's a lot of good people out there to support you if you look for them.